What is up, Live Gang and Box Critters players? Driver 3 Joe here with special guest Chris Glidden, aka Polo Field. He's going to be answering your questions. First of all, thank you for taking the time. We appreciate
No
it.
problem.
The community appreciates it. This should be fun.
Well, it's good to see you guys. Thanks for inviting me on. Hope everybody's doing well. Happy ho ho ho, everyone.
Yes. Okay.
So who's on Box Critters right now? Is everybody logged on already?
Yeah, guys, come on, let's fill up this room. I see some people here. All right, starting to fill up now a little bit. Now let's let Discord know that we're live so everybody can hop on. Here we go. All right, that's done. Yeah, guys, so any questions you have, oops, my Discord screen's off. Hold on. There we go. For any questions you have, for Chris himself, for Club Penguin, put them in the stream chat. I'll read them to him. And unless you prefer reading some yourself, I don't know what's easier. Um, whatever works. I'll probably
All is
just
good.
yeah, I'll probably just read them, make it easier for everybody. So, um, yeah, what's up, guys? How you guys doing today? Good. Hello, hello, hello. Um, let's see. Let's take the first question here from Tech70. Polo, are you involved with box critters in any way?
I've been talking to Lance about it, so yeah, a little bit, but not really at this point. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. You worked on PSA missions, right? How fun was it?
Hmm. Well, those are some of my fondest memories is working on story stuff with the team. So, I was always a little bit bummed out because I wanted to spend more time on missions, and yeah, we had a lot to do, right? So at the time when we first like basically when I started joining on the with the writing team, we started that. I was spending half my time archiving and half of my time, which is basically archiving for those who don't know. It's basically like, hey, here's the history of Penguin. Let's make sure that we keep it in place. So at the time, I was basically setting up an internal wiki. So some of you may know about that. We had an internal wiki I called ICE, which was the Internal Community Encyclopedia, for those who don't know.
Hmm.
So at the time when we were doing that, it was basically I was trying to create this central resource. So sort of like, Penguin fans, a lot of you I'm sure have heard of Wikia, like the fan wiki.
Yep.
We had our own internal wiki as well. So there was stuff that we needed to organize things of like it's just documentation, right?
Hmm.
And at the time, I was spending a lot of time doing that, so I couldn't really spend as much time on the missions as I wanted to. So it ended up that we hired on Cody, and so Cody ended up doing a lot more of the mission work, whereas I ended up spending a lot more time on half because I was only doing it half time. I was doing a lot of the archive and then also the like books, like paint by letters or paint by numbers, paint
Hmm.
by letters.
I remember those.
Yeah, so spending time on that, the stage plays, yeah, and a lot of other random bits like newspaper stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah, I did a little bit of everything on Penguin. So
That's awesome. Yeah. What was your favorite mission out of all of them?
to be honest, I'm really fond of the rookie one.
Hmm.
Like, is it Mission 3? I think it's number 3. There's something really charming about it. I think it was the one where it was the Case of the Missing Coins. I gotta pull it up off the top of my head. I think it
Yeah.
might be Case of the Missing Coins. It's the one with the vault at the beginning with Ricky.
I think that's where we're first introduced to Rookie too, I believe, right? Or might have been one
Well, in a prominent way, yeah, for sure.
I think
Like it
so.
was, the missions were, man. I don't know if you guys are the same, but like that was the thing that I said that to Lance. I said the thing that really got me invested in the story of Penguin were the missions. As soon as I was sort of up close and doing an adventure where there was a little bit of story and I could take my time to sort of wander around the world, that for me was the most exciting. So yeah,
Okay.
I love the missions. I love the characters. I love being able to spend time with stories. Like story is what I love the most. So yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, and that's what
Oh,
I've been talking a little bit to you asked about box critters. We talked a little bit about box critter story. What should the story be? And you know, it's so early days, and it's you know,
yeah, right,
it's
because
yeah,
they talk about having a whole RPG system in this game,
mhm,
which I think is awesome. So obviously a
yeah,
story surrounds that.
totally. That's what I was talking to the twins and Jonathan about. So we were talking about RPG systems because, yeah, we love board games, and board games are like game design at its purest because you basically have a bunch of mechanics, quests, and stuff like that. And really, if you think about it, RPGs are some of the deepest investment in any game you're going to get. Like when
Right,
you look at World of Warcraft, it's deep.
right,
You look at League of Legends, it's deep because it's got a whole bunch of stories going on outside of just the battle mechanics. So,
right. Chili Cheese here says, "Nice beard, Polo."
oh yeah, sorry about the beard, guys. I will confess, I had I had a stomach bug, so my whole family is sick and throwing up. And I'll tell you the funny story is I went and saw Star Wars with my two teens, and basically the stomach bug had been going around with my baby and my wife, and then suddenly, basically, I thought I'd avoided it. It
uh,
turns out I hadn't. And so I kind of I'll put it this way: I ended up having to get put in a hazmat suit and shrugged off by the emergency came and had to wheel me out on a stretcher.
oh my
So
God.
I didn't have time to shave. I'm sorry.
Wow.
So if I'm looking homeless bearded, I'm sorry.
Well, hopefully you feel better soon.
Thanks.
The stomach bugs are definitely no fun, I know. Oh.
Hmm.
Let's see here. Oh, so about paint. Why did CP remove paint by letters?
Localization was too hard. The way that it was coded, it was basically per letter. Like so, the way that Aaron built it, we would have had to like rebuild the entire thing.
Ooh,
And with you have to make hard choices, right? Like what do you spend your time on? And I know that players didn't want anything removed at any point, which is understandable. You get you want your game. You're like, what the heck? My game was right here. Why?
right.
So it was sort of, it's gonna sound strange, but it was a fairness call. It was like, how do we make this fair for everybody? Um, well, I guess nobody will have it. I mean, because it wasn't being played by a ton of people, anyways. It was sort of like, well, it gets played once. People didn't replay them that often. It's not that replayable from a game perspective. Like you think about it as a game, you go through once or twice to maybe see the different choices you make.
Right.
Um, and I know, I know Lane wasn't a big fan of Lime Green Dojo Clean.
Oh,
Uh, and the reason for that was because the choices weren't interesting enough, which is, I think, is really good feedback. Like when you look at when you make a choice in that story, uh,
right.
the results aren't the most thrilling in the world. Like it's not that, it probably could have used more work, basically.
Okay, okay.
So,
Let's see here. For the next question, guys, I am gonna open up a giveaway for a random Club Penguin minifigure. Um,
nice.
yes, so let's put that in the chat real quick. Should prompt should come up. You guys know the drill. Exclamation point, enter to be entered into the giveaway. And at the end of the stream, we'll pick a winner. All right. While you guys are doing that, next question from AJ Piggy. What was your favorite worker there? So, a Club Penguin.
Like I said, who is my favorite to? Well, I'm biased, so my my wife worked there, so I'm heavily biased towards her.
Well, there you go.
Um, so Bombaloo is one of my favorites. But outside of my bias, man, it's that's a really hard question because there's so many people I liked on the
A
team.
lot of great people
Um,
work there.
yeah, like my I have the fondest memories of of when you get that beautiful mix of like you work on something together that you've poured your love into, and you get along well doing it, and then you put it out and the community loves it. Like when you've got that kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
that's the stuff I love the most. I mean, I have fond memories of stuff that Business Moose, Johnny, and I did together. Um,
Right.
Mainly because we were just so wild and crazy. We were doing nutso ideas. Like so,
Good
you
old
know,
Johnny.
he'd be fiddling around with. He's like, "Look at this new puppet tool in After Effects. Look at what I can do with the puffle." I was like, it'd be really great if we just made that a video and he was just doing this one motion over and over and over again, and then just put it to like some like you know some really heavy music of some kind because it would just be so stupid. And he's
That's
like, "Yeah,
great.
then we could do this and this, and then we got doing this dubstep. I'll call it dubstep. It wasn't even. It's this weird electronic track that Nori came up with that I know is very divisive. Some people were like, "I don't like that track at all," and then other people were like, "Yeah, this is so great." So it was, it's one of those things. Not everybody likes IDM, so
Right.
you know.
Yeah, Johnny seems like a lot of fun. We interviewed him a few months back,
Mhm.
over the summer. Um,
Yeah, he's an extrovert, and I'm a fierce introvert. So I think the mix of the two
well,
was
there you
good.
go.
Yeah, I love working with like a whole bunch of that team. Like, there's so many creative, nice people on that team. So
It
yeah,
seems like it would have been an amazing place to work, for sure.
oh for sure. Yeah, we were so lucky. But I mean, to me, like it was more about players, right? So I was always trying to find ways to like, whenever anybody had an idea, I'd be like, no, we got to get this in there. Like, so I'd be the guy who'd be like the people like, no, we can't do that. I'd be like, no, why not? So I'd be constantly harassing the team based on community
Right.
stuff, which got annoying. So and then I'd have to find sort of subversive ways to get things that I saw from the community into the team so that they listened to them because they all wanted stats. Like, oh, what are the stats of this? So I have to sort of find ways to go, okay, well, I'll get this in through the stats team, and then they'll tell the story, and then people will buy into it, which happened time and time again. So
Okay.
those are my ways of trying to like anytime. Like I literally would be like, when Johnny and I were working on videos, for example, I would say anybody can come into my. I don't care. Anybody can come by. Anybody can give us feedback. I don't care if you're an artist, a musician, PSR, CSR, billing support, accountant. Give us feedback. Doesn't matter. Like
Right.
we listen to everything, um, and it was kind of nice that way because I think the PSRs felt pretty separate
Hmm.
sometimes. Like as we grew bigger, it felt like less of a family and more of this big thing. So it was hard to keep people feeling like they were connected. So
Right. Right. Okay. Let's see. Steve-O's favorite CP party.
whose favorite party? Mine?
Yes.
Oh, my favorite party. Well, I always wanted Music Jam to be Coachella. I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard that factoid that I've probably told a zillion times, but my penguin name is based on going to Coachella, which takes place on a polo field, hence the name Polo Field.
Might have been in our interview we
Yeah.
did a little while back.
Yeah. So my dream was always to make Music Jam bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I wanted Music Jam to be a Coachella, giant. I mean, basically all the team that ended up going over to Fortnite. Like we've got a few Penguins that now work on Fortnite, and you could just tell because the Marshmallow concert. That's totally the stuff we wanted to do, and we were slowly trying to get there. But Fortnite's just like, yeah, let's just go do it. Let's go.
Right.
Let's have Marshmallow. And people are like,
Yeah.
what? Why would you have Marshmallow doing this? It's like bleedingly obvious. That's what we were going to do with Music Jam. So yeah,
Yeah, Music Jam was definitely one of my favorite parties when it came out, for sure. Because, let's see, the first one was 2008. That was my first year. I remember just wanting, like, all the musical instruments because I used to love the animations, more specifically the tuba. Um,
yeah,
and I always wanted that instrument. And then, like, when I saw it, when the Music Jam came out and I saw it in the catalog, I was like, wow, you know?
yeah,
It was a very exciting time, for my first year, for sure, because
nice.
it was awesome. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch. Like when you ask what's my favorite party, it's hard to choose. I mean, really, it's like I love Music Jam. I love Blackout. Obviously, I'm very heavily biased towards Operation Blackout because it felt like the team were really working together on stuff. I
yeah,
also love Christmas, like any of the Christmas parties. I mean, yeah, we renamed them to holiday parties, but you know what?
yeah,
They're Christmas parties in my mind. So
yeah. Disney kind of took away everything with the Walrus Party in like the last few years of the game, um, which I didn't. I don't think a lot of people really were a fan of because. First no more Christmas party, then no more holiday party, and then they changed it to the whole Merry Walrus thing, which I don't really, uh, wasn't much of a fan.
Yeah, I think it was handled. I think we could have handled it a heck of a lot better than we did. I barely worked on that stuff.
Right, yeah, because what year was your last year there? I don't really exactly, because I know a lot of people started
That was
leaving around
that was
11, 12.
yeah, that was one of my last parties.
Okay,
So like basically, I left April 2015.
okay,
So I mean, we're actually really glad that I was there for the walrus. Like what you man, if you saw it, like it was so beautiful. Like going and seeing the stop motion, like all the maquettes and everything that they made for Mary Walrus, like it was incredible. It's just I think the way that we introduced
right.
Mary Walrus was just sort of like 0 to 60. It was like here's a walrus. You're like what? What? Who's this? Where'd you come from? Um,
Yeah,
and it and it also just yeah, I don't know. I think we could have done it better. I think the whole team knows that, and it's hard when
yeah,
the community has high expectations for us, and the expectations got higher and higher. So then we'd have to have more and more people working on stuff, and it would just get harder. That's the other thing about being creative is like you're not everything you do is not going to be a hit. So it's really interesting with social media because there's this sort of anxiety, and that's what I ended up with. I ended up with anxiety out
yeah.
of the whole experience because everything that I was doing with social media was just on a very public stage,
Hmm.
which meant if we were successful, it was great. Look at that! There's a big success thing. Awesome! This Herbert dance thing is really great. And then something else would just completely bomb, and then we'd be like, okay, shucks.
Right, right, right.
Next thing. And people are like, why did that not go as successfully? We need to do this because numbers people are like the numbers. Uh, so it ended up being actually really stressful. Last couple of years of spending half of my week talking to attorneys just got kind of old. So
Right.
it wasn't my favorite time the last couple of years.
Yeah,
So it's
because with Disney, things just kept growing and growing and growing. Um, '05 and '06 was much different than 15 and 16. Huge difference within those 10 years.
yeah, it just felt a little bit like that's the thing I look at with Penguin Island. Like the team wanted something fresh, new, and it was time. It was time to do something new. Um, Now I
Right.
wasn't involved in Island at all, so it's weird because I'm like you guys. I'm a fan. I'm just looking at it as like a player, going, oh, okay. Whereas a lot of other folks actually worked on it, right? So
Right.
um, so for me, I'm so distant to the whole thing. I'm like, I remember playing it and going, this is so unfamiliar to me. Like this is so not. I'm just so not used to this. What is this? So, but I
Ye-
mean, if you think about it, the team was so like we're on this routine, this grind of years and years and years of classic Penguin. That I think a lot of folks are just getting tired.
exactly.
So it happens. It happens with creativity. Creativity is all about finding new and fresh and exciting things to new culture, new things to be out in the world. Like that's why travel is so important. Mixing with different cultures, eating different foods. Those are the things that drive creativity
Right.
because you're bringing in separate information to make yourself better. So, like to encourage you guys who want to be artists, game designers, and all the rest of it. That's what I'm spending the most time with Lance on. Is like, how do we actually help you guys create your things, right? And what can you learn from the success and mistakes of Penguin? So,
Right.
because the future is bright if you look at it that way. So, like that's where I look at box critters and I go, this is exciting because it's like, there's no rules, which is kind of nice at the beginning. I think eventually you have to establish rules of a world, but at the beginning, it's just like you're designing freely and you can experiment, and play. And that's what's so exciting about box critters.
Yeah, it's been amazing watching this because I've been here since day one, actually before day
Mm-hmm.
one, for Box Cutters, and it's just been amazing
Nice.
watching this grow from the foundation up, and it's
Mm-hmm.
still just the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Definitely special, and a few years from now, if the game really does blow up, I mean, you're gonna look back at these, and these are gonna be the good old days that everybody liked to reminiscent about in Club Penguin. The good old days from the beta party to the first, 3 years, and you look back on it and you're like, oh, those were the good old days. Remember that? And you have
Mm-hmm.
all these memories. It's definitely special.
Yeah, nostalgia is really powerful, right? Like I've been studying nostalgia for the past few years,
Hmm.
And it's it's awesome. Like the things that I'm nostalgic about, I still go back to, right? Like I'm nostalgic about Samurai Pizza Cats. I was constantly trying to find ways to get Samurai Pizza Cats esque stuff into everything I do because I think it's like one of the greatest cartoons ever made. So,
Right. Yeah, cuz it's just amazing that the impact that Club Penguin had on my childhood, many everybody else's childhood. You know, because there's still times where like I think back to a time in my life or I hear something and I something like takes me back. It's like, oh, Club Penguin, like I was playing this. And like there's times where I'll hear something from Club Penguin to be like, I know where I was, what day, what time I was playing. Um, you guys are able to, give that to us, and it's, they're gonna be memories, childhood memories, forever.
mhm.
It's it's amazing what you guys are able to do.
Well, we're just thankful that we had such loyal players. Like without that, we wouldn't have anything. Like at the end of the day, if people don't play your game, it's not going to live. It's sort of like if a store doesn't have any customers, it can't keep going. Even if it's the coolest store. That was the hardest reality for me as a kid. Knowing that like I love that toy store. Why is that toy store gone? This sucks.
Right.
But without sufficient players to play a game, you can't keep the store open. So that's really what box critters needs is it needs people. Like if
Yes.
it's going to continue, you gotta actually be there and play and participate and
That's
give
what
feedback.
that's what builds the game is the players, the
Mm-hmm.
community that makes
Totally,
everything. I mean, that's what made
totally.
Club Penguin the amazing community
Mm-hmm.
and the loyalty of the players, and it just goes
Mm-hmm.
from there. Let's see. Back to the music. Who suggested the music jam? You?
I think we all collectively knew we wanted to do a music party. Like the best ideas at Penguin, like I'm going to tell you a story. We would have these blue sky brainstorm days. It was something we picked up from the Imagineering team. So we would have an offsite and we would all get out of the house and go somewhere completely different. So not in the office, and we would just have a brainstorm. We'd be like, what kind of party should we
Right.
do? And then we just all doodle. And so the artists are there doodling and people are talking, and we'd have like little tables of people all sitting around the tables going, hey, what should we do next? And there was one in particular that stands out to me was when we were brainstorming. We'd brainstorm, we'd be like, okay, let's brainstorm parties. Now let's brainstorm games. And now let's brainstorm stages. And we'd have a bunch of player feedback there. We'd look at everything. And with stages, for example, I'll get back to the parties in a sec. But yeah, like with stages, we basically separately, like I think it was like 5 out of 6 tables,
Mm-hmm.
everybody came back to pitch their ideas, and every single group is like, we should do a film noir party, like something black and white, like a detective thing or something. So like every single one of that group, completely separate from each other, not hearing the same ideas, all thought, hey, we should do Ruby and the Ruby. So that's an example of how that team would just mind meld, even though they were separate. uh, we would all
Right.
just end up coming up with the same idea. So Music Jam was an example of that. We would all sit around. We're like, what party should we do? And we're like, we should do a music party. It should be like a music festival, and it should be this and this. And of course, like anytime you get me talking about music, I'm like, music, 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 music. Coachella festival. It should be a big festival. And then the first time it comes out, it's like country with a little like jam logo. I was like, oh, okay. Because like this isn't Coachella.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
Coachella. But anyways, I mean, we got ish there. I mean, I think honestly, each one of the like, if you think back at what people are most fond of in terms of like the takeover parties, the one that actually people are the most fond of is actually Ultimate Jam, because at that party you had like all the mascots, plus you had like some Disney Channel music folks and some Disney Records folks showing up, and it was like this beautiful mix of it was a classic Penguin party infused with some, you know, whatever, shake it off, shake it. Man, I can't remember the name of
Okay.
the Disney Channel show.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Bella Thorne and Zendaya.
I
Oh my
think I think
goodness,
I
my
think it was
brain is not working.
I think it was called Shake It Up. Maybe I'm not a
Yeah,
hundred
that one.
percent.
Yeah, so we had like the Bella Thorne penguin, which still makes me laugh.
I remember.
Uh,
Yeah. Let's see. Uh, Tech 70 says, "Are you and Lance planning another giveaway? Your last one was such a big
yes,
success."
Yeah, I'd love to do another giveaway. I was hoping to do one for Christmas, and I just Christmas has been rough. It's just with
Y-
sicknesses and hospital visits and
Yeah,
stuff. It's just been like okay, but yeah, I'd love to do another giveaway for you guys.
yeah, that
Yeah,
was
that'd be
pretty
cool.
cool. How you had like the prototypes, I think it was for the Club Penguin toys.
Yeah, obviously we don't have too many of those, so it's not like
Yeah,
we can do that all the time. But we can easily do things like giveaways of games or whatever, and
right.
maybe autograph them if that's fun for you guys or whatever. But yeah, it's a nice way. I like giveaways. Always wanted to do them back in the day, but I could never make it work at Disney. So it's good that I can just do them myself now.
Oh, I think people are correcting us. Rocky and Cece from the music
Yes, thank
jam.
you,
There we
Rocky and
go.
Cece. But what was the show that Rocky and Cece were in? What was it again? It was
It was some
it's
movie, I think.
shake it off, shake it up, shake it.
I think I know. Go,
No,
because
I'm thinking it's Taylor Swift. That's Taylor Swift. Shake it up.
it used to be on my TV like all the time. Let me
Yes,
see.
shake it up. There we go.
Okay,
That
that
was it. Rocky and
that's
Cece.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that show. Yep. All right, we're close. We're close.
there we go.
I didn't
Oh
really
man.
watch a lot of Disney growing up. I was more Nickelodeon, so um
See, look. Everybody's so ashamed of me. I'm sorry. Of course,
his layoff, guys. He's sick.
you have to forgive me. I'm sick and old.
Yes.
As you get older, you lose your mind. It just happens.
Oh gosh. Yeah, like, it's okay, guys. Let's see. Question here. Um, yeah, guys, remember keep your questions going. Um, Club Penguin, anything for him, whatever you got, just scream. Well, don't scream them, but just ask them in the chat. um, how do you feel about the PSA missions? Why was their development stopped?
Okay. So again, we had, believe it or not, like even though we had like 1,000 people working on the game, we didn't necessarily have 1,000 people developing it.
Mm-hmm.
So we were still like under 100 people. Like I think it was probably at most maybe 75 people. That's everything software like of like developing, not maintaining the servers, and
Right.
not supporting you guys like with writing emails or marketing, but like core like developers, and the rest of it. And with the number of things and the number of like as we added more stuff to Penguin, the code base got more complex. So it meant that, and it was a monolith app, so everything's just basically tethered together. So we had to make hard choices, and so hard choices usually come from data. So
Mm-hmm.
you usually have to go, okay, what are the top games? What are people spending the most time on? So when you guys were playing, we'd go and we'd see, okay, oh, we see that Karjitsu is a top game, so we'll invest more into doing more Karjitsu experience. Makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the missions, if you think about it, like how often, like for you, Joe, like how many times did you replay a mission?
Oh, I did a lots of time because they were just fun. Um,
Okay.
I gotta.
Yeah, see,
I'm,
that's one thing that may be tough to find in data too. So like I don't know if we really were able to track um, repeat. I don't remember this. The business intelligence folks would know more about the data, but basically it was like with the numbers it didn't make sense. Like so people would go off in a silo to play the game. So what I mean by that
right.
is like right now we're in box critters. You can see everybody saying hello.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in a room and we can all chat. But when you go and play a mission, you just leave. Like you're not there. You're just you've disappeared as a
Yeah,
penguin. The
it's
penguin's not in the room anymore,
it's done.
and you're gone, and you're off for like 20 minutes playing this game.
Yep.
So you're no longer sort of contributing to the chat. Like so you're not in the room like talking and going yeet yeet. You're not in the room like chatting.
Right.
So it sort of takes away from the world a little bit. Um, which it's painful for me to say because I love the PSA missions. Like I think they're some of the best things that were ever in Penguin.
Yeah, they were.
But
Yeah, they were cool.
but that's because I'm a particular type of player. But not every player is an explorer. So that was a game that appealed to in the. Are you familiar with the Bartle test? I'm sure I've talked about this before.
Uh, not sure. It sounds familiar though.
Yeah, so it's basically it's this idea that there's like generally four different types of uh, game players, both
Right.
in board games and video games. It's pretty much the same. And some players like having experiences where they don't care if they're interacting with people; they just want to experience stories and just go off by themselves, and they're
Mhm.
totally fine with that. So the PSA missions appeal to that type of player. But for a social player, social player doesn't care about that. Social player wants to like chat. Social player wants to like spam each other with postcards and send each other friend requests. Like
Yes.
they want to give each other gifts. Like that's what a social player wants to do, and that's really the strength of Penguin was. It was such a powerful social experience, right?
Yep.
It was, and still I think is a better social experience than your Twitters and Facebooks and Discords. Like I still think it's more engaging, and I say that with all bias aside. Like I think it's just there's something about having an avatar that you can customize and express yourself with and move around and chat all in one package is just really special. I think it's just engaging. So, anyways, PSA missions, the reason why we stopped working on them is they were some of the most expensive things to localize.
Yeah.
So when we did the translation, we would have baked in text where the artist would actually draw the letters. Like as an example, if I'm in, you can see it on the live stream right now. That big sign says "Happy Holidays." It's like, well, that's great for English, but
Right.
now we're
Right.
gonna have,
Right.
now you're gonna have to go and hand letter it for all other of the 16 languages. It's like, well, oh dear. Okay, well, I guess we got to replace that with fonts. So if you saw in the missions, it was a very quiet update. With the missions with localization, we replaced in some cases we replaced the drawn letters with just like fonts.
Okay.
Uh, and the same thing with like if we didn't do that, then we would actually have the designer in that language. Like we actually had in-house localization teams. So we had an in-house translator, we had an in-house designer, an in-house QA, and
Right.
the in-house designer would then have to like hand letter the things. Like so we'd have like here's the German version or the Russian version, etc. So very expensive way to do it. It definitely is not. If you're ever planning a game, don't do it that way. Would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That does
there are
seem like a lot of work.
yes, there are better ways to do it.
Let's see. Thoughts on the other Club Penguin games like Elite Penguin Force or Game Day?
Oh, game day. Oh man, that was funny. Game day, basically, a team just started working on it, and we were like, "What? No, we want full control over the brand. You can't just work on something without talking to us. What are you doing?" And so they were working on some game, and we basically had to sort of make it work for Penguin. So we had to do a lot of guidance on that thing. Like we
Right.
had to try and steer that ship back in a different direction because it was going like this crazy direction. We're like, okay, this doesn't even make sense for Penguin. Like, what is going on? So then we came up with the idea that I still think is pretty good. It was essentially like we wanted to do a better job of Camp Penguin. Like the whole concept of that August 2007 party. It was the first party actually post acquisition. The Camp Penguin party was like it was
Mm-hmm.
camping, but we like the idea of camps where you play games and stuff. Like I don't know if you've been to like a summer camp where you go off and you're doing just hacky sack races and stuff like that.
Right.
And that was the idea that we sort of that was the conceit of that game. It was like, hey, why don't we make this more like a it's this crazy sort of camp, and you've got teams, and each team battles against each other. And I think that's I think it turned out pretty decent. There's some really fun games on there. I'm excited about that one because I had some ideas that they did. Like the goal on that. I said, hey, here's this classic Atari game. What if you did this? In Penguin style,
Absolutely.
and it's in there. It's actually a really fun game. There's a couple mini games in there that are just awesome. Uh,
Now, was there
so
any reason why it was for the Wii only? Because I remember, like, I
mm,
wanted the game bad, but I didn't have a Wii, so I couldn't
uh,
play it.
I don't know. I'm not actually sure to be honest. I
Hmm.
wish I could tell you that.
Yeah, because I did have Elite Penguin Force, and that game was definitely a lot of fun when I first got it. I grinded that for like days and days, getting all the coins, transferring them, because I knew you could transfer to the game. Um, yeah, I definitely had a blast, and I think the external Club Penguin games though were definitely cool because you're expanding to other platforms, and which I think was a huge step for a virtual world like Club Penguin at the time.
Yeah, we made it difficult. I mean, I think that it's important to say to you guys, like I see people like, no, stop Disney. It's like it's not their fault. We
Yeah.
messed it. Like we made a lot of those choices. Like we should take the ownership. Like we made the good and bad choices. So I made mistakes. So did the rest of the team. So I think we got to go easy on ourselves as a community.
Right.
Uh, yeah. Anyways, but yeah, as far as why it came out on the other platforms, like I'm not sure. I just know that like it's really expensive. Like things are surprisingly expensive to produce, so
Mm-hmm.
you do still have to make hard choices.
Okay. Also, guys, as a reminder, remember we still are doing our charity. The link is in the stream chat. It's also in the description. We've raised $205 in total for the Extra Life Foundation. So remember, every dollar counts. Help a kid for this for the holidays. So um, with that being said, let's see another question here. Do you have favorite Club Penguin music?
Oh yeah, I love man. I love Screen Hog's work.
Oh
Like
yeah,
he's an
genius.
amazing musician. Yeah. Um, I liked when we made it hard for him. I like it
Oh
when
boy.
we challenged him to do things that were hard. So I remember giving feedback, and he talks about this. He's like, they kept changing the music on this thing. They didn't want this. They wanted to go a different direction." But he has no idea how picky we were being about that game
Yeah,
about Puzzle.
because he makes some videos on how he made some soundtracks, and there's a few of them
Yeah.
where he says, "Oh, I did this, but they didn't like that, so I had to do this."
Well, it wasn't that we didn't like it. It was that we wanted a specific, like we
Yeah,
wanted to find the right direction for the game. We were trying to make it because the thing is
right.
in Penguin everything was starting to feel really sameish, right? So all the music was starting to feel like okay, it's all the same now,
Yeah.
which is good because it's cohesive, but it's bad because it's like okay, well now music becomes ignorable, right? So when you're making an album as a band or as a DJ or as an R&B singer, you want to have some variance to the tracks that are on there. Like you don't want
Hmm.
every track on your hip hop album to be all the same tempo. You want the
Yeah.
tempo to change, you want the timbre to change, you want to have different notes, you want variety. So what we were doing was really challenging Chris to come up with something totally different that we didn't have in Penguin at all.
Hmm.
And so that was where we was like, we want more of a hard rock kind of edge to this, like a sort of more boy track. Uh, and that was just it was different for him. So it was nice to see some different stuff. What I'm most fond of though is like really like I love like some of the tracks he did for Halloween.
Hmm.
Like Halloween again. That's why I say you ask me my favorite party and it changes every day.
Yeah, because there's so many
Just
good ones. You can't choose from one from the other.
yeah, exactly. And to be honest, like you know, cave of creeps and clarinets that he did for Halloween's brilliant. Um, and then the obvious stuff, Christmas, like I like Christmas music. So,
Yeah, I definitely love
oh,
the Christmas track. I've been using them for all of our box cutter Christmas videos because they're just
mm-hmm,
perfect.
mm-hmm. Yeah, medieval parties. Yeah, I forgot about that. I love the medieval parties. Like the quests, so good. Like that's some of the best stuff that the twins came up with. Is like the quests at the medieval parties, and the
Right.
music for that was so good. Like there were tracks in there. I'm like, I would actually listen to this. Quest for the Golden Puffle had great music. Like he's got some outtakes as well that are really good. Like that's what I wanted. I wanted more music that didn't get released.
Right.
Like I'm planning to do a video about the unreleased music from the Wii game. Just fun fact: there's actually a whole bunch of music that no one's ever heard. Cutting room floor material that was made by the Japanese developers that we didn't bring into the game because we wanted it to feel more like Club Penguin. So we actually chose classic Club Penguin music rather than these new compositions. But there's some really good new compositions that never made it into the Wii game.
Yeah, I think he's played some and showed some, and they sounded really, really good. Like
Mhm.
you immediately think of Club Penguin when you hear them, even though they were never used in the game before.
Totally.
Um, let's see. This here's a good question. What Puffle personality fits you?
I'm probably a black puffle. I am
Yeah.
moody and cantankerous.
Yeah.
They call me critical Capricorn Glidden, so that's probably, yeah. I'd probably be the cantankerous
Yeah.
emo black puffle. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I would say I'd be between like a black puffle and maybe a green. I don't know. It's tough for me to decide.
I like
Um,
that.
yeah, somewhere in between those two. Let's see. A controversy was the amount of CP apps, Sled Racer, Sound Studio, being released in like 2014, diverting attention away from the quality of the original game. What do you think about that?
Well, there's a lot in there.
Yeah.
Well, what was detracting about it?
Yeah, yeah, what would be divert if you want to clarify that question, like what would be diverting attention from it? Because
Yeah.
I thought the Sound Studio thing was kind of cool. Um, I wish they would have left the DJ 3K like as a playable thing somewhere.
hmm
Um, because
I
that's
yeah, I mean, I think we made some mistakes with that. Like, I think the DJ 3K was the victim of not being played as often. So
right.
they were trying to make music more social. I wish
Yeah,
I think actually that was one of the best newish features that the team made was the concept that you could go and
make
mix
your
a
own.
track and but then share it with everybody. So then people could go and like the tracks. Like I had so much fun like going and making like nonstop fart like soundtracks and
Yeah.
then just the room having to be forced to listen to my really bad mix for a while. That was fun. And then I could go and like people's tracks and then there was like this dedicated amount of time where like that person was the star because their track was being played in the nightclub or the dance club or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was cool. Like I think that was brilliant. The whole point of those games was actually just to go, hey, you know, there are people who like just weren't going. They were only on their mobile devices at all. So we were like, what if we just did some little standalone apps where, you, like, if you're on the go, you could earn coins. You don't have your computer with you. You just have an offline iPad. Well, you can go and just play this quick little casual game and earn coins and then
Right.
bring it back to your account. So though I think at the time what we were thinking was that we could have a whole bunch of like atomized little apps that all sort of uh, you could just instead of having to go into the world to go to the place to launch the game, you just launch the game, earn your coins, and then go to another app to like change your penguin, and then go to another app to like chat. I don't know. Like the whole thinking at that point was that we would have just the My Penguin app, which was a companion,
Yeah.
right? So you have the companion app, and then from there is where you know, dress up. You know, I don't think we even had igloos planned for it, but you would chat, see your friends list, see latest
Mm-hmm.
news, right? And then you're like, okay, you could leave. You could just multitask. You just jump out of that and go to a different
Right.
game, go earn some coins, and then go back. But then over time, we were like, well, this is kind of weird. Like, it's kind of weird that we're like, we have
Yeah.
all these separate little apps. Why don't we just make Club Penguin? Like, why don't we just make the Club Penguin app? What are we doing? And we're like, well, we don't know how. Stress.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's how we ended up with the whole big, gigantic Penguins in Metaplace project, where that took us like a whole boatload of time and hundreds of people and outsources to get that thing
Jeez.
up and running. So yeah, that was how we finally got the world onto mobile. Uh, but mobile is a different beast because the way that the user interface is, you kind of need things to be slightly different. Like you even look at how the difference between Call of Duty mobile versus Call of Duty desktop, like they are slightly different because from
Right.
an interface point of view, you have to change where things are laid out. So
Okay. Yeah, and so to follow up that question that was asked before, the apps, especially Sled Racer and the Puffle Candy Crush, were great. Just the new content on the original came less often. Repetitive parties. Just less content over time. I guess towards the end, really, the last few years. I mean, I wasn't really playing as much then, but I was able, I did hop on like every other month or so just to see what was going on still, and it did seem like, they were repeating a lot of parties and not as adding as much content anymore, leaving the takeover
yeah,
parties for like a month long, stuff like that.
well, they had to. Like, so if you guys don't realize, but the reason they had to do that was because they were working on the new app. So the entire team was not even working on Penguin. Like, so Penguin Classic was just sort of up and running
Mm-hmm.
while they made the new app. So
Right.
basically, they just entirely were like, okay, we got to make Island work. We need to devote all our resources to make sure this thing is like, awesome. So they poured their heart and energy into that, and then they had to sort of just keep the lights on with Classic. And we knew it was going to be painful. Like, even when I was there and they were talking about it, we knew this was not going to be a fun process. Like, we knew it was
Yeah.
going to be like awkward, but we also knew that with so many people moving to mobile, and the sort of the mobile experience that we had was just, I don't know. Yeah, I think we were just sort of dissatisfied with the way that it felt on mobile. Like, it
Yeah.
just didn't feel quite right because it felt so desktopy. I think that was the
Yeah.
concern. I mean, I look back and I go, okay, I don't know. I would make different choices, but yeah.
Yeah. And this question too: would it have been better to focus on the CP mobile app instead of just different apps like those ones?
Yeah, I mean, that's why we did. Like,
Yeah.
basically, that's what you can see is like we put out Sled Racer and things like that as sort of an interim thing. We focused elsewhere. Like, the thing is, you got to experiment, right?
Yeah.
There's people are less forgiving of experiments when you're big. So when, when
Yeah.
you're
No.
when you're small like box critters, you can be like, I don't like this, blow it up. Oh, here comes in a new thing. Ah, let's just make the whole thing go away. Oh,
Right.
here's a new thing that comes in, and you can experiment because it's new and fresh, and you don't have any kind of attached expectations. So,
Right.
oh, look at that animated. Look at that. Whoa, what was that? You got a really cool. Did somebody donate? What was that animation
Um.
on the stream?
I think that was a subscription. Let me check.
Nice.
Let's see who's subscribed. I can't see right now, but thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the live gang. Also, guys, remember if you donate, you get your thing up on the screen as well. So remember, every dollar helps the kids for Christmas this year. Um, let's see here. Comments. Oh, Crit Cal. Oh, welcome. You came from the Club Penguin shutdown video. You're going to subscribe. Well, thank you. It must have been you. Speaking of which, have you seen the Club Penguin Final Minutes video?
Yours?
Yeah.
I haven't actually seen it yet. Like, I know
No?
that you got like a whole bunch of people that saw it.
Let's. It's.
It's
I think it's at
Do you
12.
think I can emotionally handle it?
I mean, everybody in the comments like seem to cry. 12 million people at this point,
Uh huh.
which I did
That's
not expect that to blow up the way it did.
mhm.
I mean, just for a second, like that video has been all over the internet now, and yeah, 12.3 million views. Oh my gosh, that's insane. Um, but yeah, so I assumed like many of you guys at the Club Penguin, would have seen, um, that because it's like everywhere. Um, but when you get a chance to watch it, uh, it'll probably be pretty sad.
Hmm.
um, all right, let's see. Um, let's get a few more questions in here, guys, and we'll let Chris get better. Take care of anything else you may have in your day. Um, so yeah, guys, keep the questions going. We'll announce the giveaway here in about 10 minutes towards the end. So let's get some more questions in here, and let's keep the fun going. So this one, we'll see. Oop, I lost it.
Yeah, one thing that I saw a question that somebody asked if box critters will have a mobile version like CP.
Yes.
Technically, you can just load it on your mobile right now. It just works because it's HTML5.
Mm-hmm.
That's Lance's plan. So
Oh, there's a donation, Soku. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Thank you.
awesome.
Sweet.
I'll just say that our daughter really benefited from BC Children's Hospital. So this
Oh,
this
awesome.
charity thing that you guys are doing is really awesome because
Oh,
uh,
good.
yeah,
We're happy.
I,
Yeah,
I
we've raised over $200, so
awesome. It's
that's
great.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Let's see. Where's the question? I lost it. It's up here somewhere. Oh, I lost it again. Come on, Joe. Okay, here we go. So from protagonist. What do you think was the biggest mistakes Disney made with Club Penguin?
Well, I think putting the making them the villain is wrong. How about we just say the biggest mistake we made on Penguin?
Mm,
So that was the question. What was the biggest mistake we made?
yeah,
Yeah.
or Disney, but
Nah, it was us. Like we just worked for them. Like we were the ones who had accountability and responsibility for the product. So I think villainizing the entity is the wrong thing. It's not them. It's us. We made lots of mistakes. It's just the question: was the biggest mistake?
yeah,
Uh, I I got to be honest. I think the biggest mistake was not bringing your friend list and your username and your history from Club Penguin over to Club Penguin Island.
ah,
Yeah, I don't want to say too much, but
no, no, we get
I
it.
think it was just I feel so sad that the team didn't do that. I think it is the most critical error they could have made in the entire history of anything.
Yeah,
Um, that
I
would be, I would say, the biggest mistake.
yeah, I didn't even think about that myself. I mean, that's a really, really good point. Because as we talked about all the time in the premise of the game, friends, friendship, and the community, and that kind
Mhm.
of split people up.
I think
And
it was one of those things that it was going to cost them a whole lot of time, a whole lot of
yeah,
energy, a whole lot of money, and I think they made an executive decision that I wouldn't have made. If I were there, I would have been just yelling. Like
right,
it's
right, right,
like you must keep this. But yeah, anyways, I think I think it unfortunately hurt Island. I think Island had a lot of things going for it.
right,
Um, I know a lot of people wanted to hate on it, but it's just because it represents the concept of taking something away. It's like if somebody says, you can no longer have this, you can only have that.
right,
Like, what are the chances that you're going to say, what do you mean I have to use a Mac, but I love my Windows box? Or what do you mean I have to use a Windows box when I love my Mac? Like, it's
right.
one of those things, like, when you're being forced upon it, that's a hard one. So,
Yeah, no, definitely. So I don't know if you have like the same type of answer for this. Bago says, "What do you think CPI did wrong?"
um, I mean, I'm not familiar enough with it to, like, I just played it and
Mm-hmm.
I felt really alone playing it. Like, I
Yeah,
just sort of, it just didn't feel like I was friends with people. Like it just sort of like I would show up and be like, "Hi," nothing.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
"Okay," and I was like, "I hope everybody else isn't." I felt stupid playing it, to be honest.
Yeah,
What? So maybe it was just me, but I was just like, I'm so confused. Like I don't know what to do. There's so much. What are all these things popping up? Like I just was like, I can't. I'm out.
I,
Like,
I think their biggest mistake was directly shutting down Club Penguin and forcing everybody to play Club Penguin Island.
well, it could have even just been the time too, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just Island came out pretty close after the
Mm-hmm.
shutdown, so now it represents this great evil because you took away the thing I loved and you gave me this thing. It
Yeah,
doesn't even matter how good thing that thing is. You could have given me a brand new Mercedes Benz. You got me a brand new Tesla,
yeah.
but I loved my Honda. What do you mean? You took my Honda away. I loved my Honda.
That's a pretty good analogy right there for sure. I think that they should have just left Club Penguin open a little bit longer while they had Island out, just so everybody could get used to the transition. That's another thing. I don't think they transitioned anybody to the new
Totally.
style of Club Penguin Island well at all.
Yeah.
It was just here you go, new Club Penguin. It was
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you say these things. I mean, it is what it is. It happened. It's done. It's over. There's always the what if, should have, would have, could have.
I
It's
don't think it's worth dwelling on. Like I think
no.
instead, like my hope for you guys is like instead of being so fixated on penguin, 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 like we have a perfectly amazing. Like I don't know if you guys are noticing box critters right now, but look at this room. Uh, does this not give you penguin vibes? Does this
Oh,
not like
I
feel like
mean,
the spiritual sequel right here?
you look at this room. I mean, you go everywhere. I mean, from the beginning, it just the whole art style. I mean, the twins really captured it perfectly, integrating it into box, and it works. It works.
It totally does. And
And
I really believe in the twins. And I said to Lance, like, you got to have the twins. You got to get the twins.
right.
I remember saying that to him. I was like, get the twins, please. Like, please get them working on box critters.
It
And he did, which
it
is
it,
awesome.
it was a big, definitely a big decision, and it's paying off. And like I said, we're still at the beginning. It's not even here yet.
Mm-hmm.
The
And dude,
potential.
it's like rewinding to Club Penguin in 2005. Like, you guys don't realize it. Like, this is what it was.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, it's not much there. I don't see. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what Penguin was. Not much there. Like, that's what Penguin was like in 2005. Like, look back and it was just little bits. Well,
I
early 2005. This is what it feels like right now is like Penguin Chat 3.
yeah,
That's kind of what it feels like.
I say that all the time. Like I let all these guys know that, if you weren't around for Club Penguin in '05, I mean, this is what it was like. Like I wasn't around, but I've been around Club Penguin enough to know the history and what everything was like. But this is what it was like, the beginning from the foundation, from the ground up, building a community. It all started, like this. And
Yeah,
if you didn't know what it was like, if you were wondering what the good old days in Club Penguin were like, you can look at Box Cutters right now. This is what those good old days were like for Club Penguin in '05.
totally.
And it's
Like, and you
cool.
stick around and you give to it, like, you really will end up with the same kind of nostalgia. And really,
Exactly.
in a way, like, you guys are making a new world for a generation that's younger than you.
Yep.
Like, if you're doing it right, like, box critters will be like, people will have the same nostalgia about box critters years from now. But like,
Absolutely.
it needs you guys working on it together. So
Exactly. And the one thing that I love what this Rocketsnail and the team do with this game is how much they involve the community in its contributions, which is obviously very, very important. And you don't see that too much really anymore from games that really listen to their players and community. They just kind of throw stuff out there and say, "Oh, this is what we think people want." But as for Box Critters, he's Lance always loves listening to the ideas. The twins are always listening to ideas. You
oh,
know,
I am too. Like, and I actually, here's the thing: every idea you guys ever had about Penguin that never got done, guess where it could go?
hmm,
Guess who's been watching it?
that is a very,
Guess who?
very
So all the times when I would, like, be watching your ideas and going, hey, we should make sure we do something like this because man, that would be rad. I'm constantly sending that stuff to, like, Lance. It's like, hey, here's
yeah.
this thing that I saw. So I've been watching ever since. Like, I left Penguin in 2015,
Hmm.
um, and I've been watching ever since. Because to be honest, there's something special there. It's just my devotion is to this community. Like, I think
Right.
you guys deserve to have a new world that you can work together on. Congrats on the headphones, Kelsey.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, you got your headphones? Awesome. Oh, another donation came in from Tech70. Thank you.
Thanks, Tech70. That's awesome. Really
Awesome.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, just my personal story. We ended up at BC Children's Hospital for, oh, it was close to a month actually. With, I don't know, it was like a couple. It was like 2 or 3 weeks. I think we ended up there
yeah.
with our baby. So
Hmm. Well, hopefully they're doing well.
yeah.
Um.
And as far as the Penguin movie stuff, we're actually, like, I have about, I think it's at about 80,000 words that I've worked on of a book with Lance. So
Oh wow.
so you guys have been asking, like, there was the question about the movie and the book, because they're basically, I did a survey a long time ago and I said, hey, what are your interests in a new world? What are your interests in a movie? What are your interests in a book? And the top result that came back was movie, then book, then world.
Right.
So you got a new world in development. That's Box Critters. We've got a book already in progress right now, that we're going to be publishing as, like, pieces of blog posts, but then hopefully as, like, a book. So telling Lance's story of, like, the history of going from Penguin to, like, starting Hyper Hippo and all of that. So I've got a big book that I'm working on with him.
So like an
Um,
actual book that we could go into a bookstore and find.
that's the plan.
Awesome.
Um, so yeah, just it's always just a question of the logistics of how do you actually do it. Do you self-publish? Do you go and find an agent and go and take it to a great publisher like Penguin Books? So yeah, I'm not sure what we'll do with it. At this
Right.
point, I'm just working on the story and making sure that we get that. And then as far as it goes, fun fact that Johnny's been secretly working on a movie, not for this but another one. And then so basically his second movie that he wants to work on is this. So the problem is he can't work on a Penguin movie right now because
He's
he's basically
working
working.
on some. I think we. I
Yeah,
think he told us what it
yeah,
was a little bit.
he's working on a really special story.
Right.
So it's a documentary film, and so once that is done, then yeah, basically then he'll be freed up a little bit. The problem is he also has a day job too, so
Yeah.
he's working on a movie with his editors at nighttime, and he has a kid, and he's got in the daytime he's also working on videos. So it's like all of us. Like I'm busy. I'm just as busy as he is. Like
Yeah.
I work 60-hour weeks, so
Oh wow.
it's very similar to us. So we're both busy guys, and yeah, it's just hopefully when the time is right, and
Right.
we have the right place, the right story, and the thing is to do a film,
Mm-hmm.
you you have to have the right. Um, you have to know what the story is going to be. If you just
Right.
go and shoot something like there's examples where people like even documentaries, every documentary film you see, they usually have like a script and an outline, and they know what story they're going to tell before they go into shooting anything. Believe it or not,
Yeah.
there are very few examples. Like there's a movie that came out in the early '90s that won a bunch of awards called Dreams, and that one was more of a discovery documentary, like a true like we're just going to film people and see what happens. And that they lucked out and found a story, but that's not the best way to do a documentary film. Like you actually should have a plan.
Right.
So that's the outline that we've been working on. It's like, well, what is the controlling idea of this story, right? Like, is the story just Penguin, or is that actually like a little bit limited?
Okay.
That might actually be a somewhat limited story because really, like, what happened after Penguin? Like, I think it's actually more interesting to cover Lance's story of going from Penguin to starting Hippo, to the failures of Hippo, to the success of Adventure Capital,
Right.
into like now he's going full circle and creating a virtual world again. Like there's that to me seems like what the story could be. That's I think is actually a more captivating story than just entirely fixating on Penguin. But I mean, you know, we're here chatting on a box critter stream and everyone's asking Penguin questions. So
Yeah. Well, hey, maybe one day we'll be getting lots of box critters answers from you. Um,
yeah, there you
we'll
go.
we'll definitely see. Well, let's take a couple more questions here. We'll do the final giveaway, and we'll go ahead and wrap this up. So, Polo Field, what was your opinion on Club Penguin coin generators online? Have you ever found out about them until now?
I think okay, so you want to talk about mistakes? I think I think I've known about all this
Let's
stuff.
talk
Like
about our
even as
item adders too with the beta hat.
I watched all that stuff. Like I, I know more than you might realize.
Oh yeah.
Um, so the coin generator thing is because basically people weren't earning enough coins from the games and they wanted to get their items. You
Yep.
know, what if you just had all the? What if everybody could buy every item and just get way more coins per game? Wouldn't that be better if you just had a lot of coins? You could always spend them. Like it's just
Yep.
more than what you had. Like I think it was a problem. It was a game design problem that we never fixed. And so people found a solution to that problem. They're like, here's my hacky thing. And then, oh, guess what? My account got compromised. Oh,
Yep.
guess what? You got banned. Well, you used a third party app that we didn't endorse because you're
Mm-hmm.
giving up your personal information, which you should still, to this day, never give up your personal information.
Yeah.
Just
I
be
was,
careful with that stuff.
yeah, I was a little bit of a rebel using coin generators. Luckily, I didn't get banned somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I definitely did not play around with the item adders because I know at one point people were able to add the beta hat to their account, and
Well, and that was an easy one where we could just go through the database and go, yeah, when did you create your account and you got the beta hat? No,
yeah,
like pretty simple.
you joined December 2012 and somehow you have the
Mm-hmm.
beta hat. So I know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, there was. I know those systems probably gave you guys a lot of headaches in the past.
that's the thing. Like the number of little headaches that we had to deal with. There was a lot. There was a lot of headaches. So
Yeah.
it's it was a lot of work.
Let's see. What did you think of Club Penguin armies?
I think the armies are cool. I think if anything, like I would love to see box critters do armies better. Like
Right.
actually have a system for it. Like actually design a game for it. Like that to me is what I call emergent gameplay. That's why I'm a huge fan of Dungeons and Dragons because it's this whole concept of emerging things, right? Like you basically here's a story, here's a world, here's some tools, go do something. And the armies were doing that, right? Like so you basically had like a whole bunch of people getting together and like you see it right now. Here's a lineup. Like this is basically look, there's an army starting right now. Look, hi army. Look at them. They're in a row. Look, you guys
Right.
are an army. Wow. There's something. It's tribalism. It's human nature, right? It's cool. Like I think if anything, design around it. You see emergent behavior, build a system for it. It's great. That's what I would do. But I don't run box critters.
Right.
Lance does, so
Well,
he could choose that if he wants.
yeah. I know Lance does want to have like clans at some point that everybody
Totally.
can be a part of.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
we've
I had a
actually.
pitch actually at Penguin. I wanted to do Club Penguin clubs. That was my joke.
Oh,
It was basically you could create a club, and then so it brought the club into Club Penguin. Um,
right.
One of the ideas we just never did, but you could do that. You're just like you create a guild, you create a club. You're like, this is my club. Here's my emblem. Here's my people.
Community took that into their own hands.
Totally,
um,
and that's the best.
yeah. That's definitely looking forward to at least having something like that would be fun from Box Critters for sure. Because if we do get the clans and stuff like that, I think as the game grows, you'll probably start seeing that again. Um, definitely in the future. Let's do one more question here. Loved Field Fridays. Would you like to do a weekly event on Box Critters?
I would do a weekly event. I don't think actually the thing is Field Fridays the way they worked. I
Mm,
don't have the features in Box Critters that I would need to do Field Friday the way that I did them. So I'd have to rethink that kind of meetup.
okay.
I'd like for me, I'd like to see lots of. I'd like to see like Joe Tuesdays or something. I don't know. Like I'm trying to come up with a, what day it would be like, or driver. No, there's no alliteration for you. I'm just like
No, it's a very weird.
driver
Um,
datter days.
yeah, I, I tried to think of stuff like that, and I can't ever get something to go well with my name.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to like at some point I had an idea like I don't know gaming hour with Joe or something where we just play like a random game or something or it's hard. Like I wish I could have something to go with my name, but I really don't have anything. Unless we get some sort of like racing thing in Box Critters, because I have driver in my name, then maybe I could do something driving with Joe or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
We need to get him. I need to get Lance on that now. Racing game.
Oh man, a
um,
racing game would be rad. I know
yeah,
like what I talked about with the twins a little bit was, like one thing that's rad is like the idea of massively multiplayer games,
yeah.
like games where there's a whole whack of people that are playing at the same time, like not just limited by 8 players, but like 100 players can play a game. Like
Oh
that's
yeah.
that's what I think they're really what they're dreaming of for box critters is like
Right.
stuff where a whole whack of people can all play at once.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's like the
Absolutely.
coolest, right? Like you do mazes and everybody's in the maze. Like that was rad. I loved like walking around in the maze.
Yeah, and that's like I'd like to have that kind of stuff so I could have on-stream activities for anybody who's participating. Um, because I used to do Club Penguin streams on another channel, and we used to play, hide and seek or some other type of game like that. But you were able to because you had all these places to go.
Totally.
Right now for Box Critters, we don't really have enough rooms yet or hiding places to play those sort of games. So,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't really have mini games to play together, like multiplayer games. That's another thing I want to do for the channel eventually. But I know we'll get there. It's baby steps. They got to get the
Mm-hmm.
foundation set first, so we can get all the things. That's because that's the twins were telling me yesterday. For all the things that we want, they have to get the foundation set first, and then you go from there.
Totally.
You know.
Totally. I'm still just pleased that like the little gimmick that we came up with of like when Johnny and I were like, we should just do like a day that's like Field Fridays and Moose Mondays. Like then it became like Mod Mondays, and then everybody was doing it. And it was awesome. Like because
Right.
it gave you meetups to be involved with. I mean, you think about the features that we used. We used emotes, which we don't have like a menu option for emotes right now. We used dancing, so you can't really
Right.
dance. There's no dance command.
Yeah.
We used friend lists. We used igloos.
Mm-hmm.
We used the igloo likes. So none of those things exist right now, right? So like we don't have that same sort of communal.
Yeah.
We don't have the ingredients quite there yet. So
No.
hopefully at some point.
Yeah, I'm very confident. I mean, so far the team is they got a great group of people. You know, everything is just a test, really. You know, lately everything's each step has been a test for something, and you just build off of that, and it just that's how you keep creating bigger things. And so far they've been doing a good job for it. I know in the future, we'll have all those things that all that interactivity and stuff that keeps us online. Little things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Twin Tuesdays. Some people said, yeah, the twins. That'd be cool if the twins did that. Um,
It'd totally be cool.
yeah. Oh yeah, Tech, the fashion show I do. So I had like a fashion show thing that I do. I pick like three people
Nice.
to be a judge. Then I give them a theme, and they nominate three people. I put their name in a poll, and I have everybody vote, and the winner wins something. So
That's
that's
awesome.
kind of my thing. But speaking of that, guys, we're gonna wrap up here. Let's do our giveaway. Um, if you guys haven't entered yet, I'll give you a minute to enter! Exclamation point enter, and you will win a random Club Penguin figurine. Um, Also, make sure you guys donate. The link is in the description. It's in the chat. Um, Everything you guys need is here. Um, so there we go. Yeah, now you guys are entering. There you go. Let's see. Um, what's this?
There we go. It's awesome.
There we go, guys. Keep entering. There you go. This was fun. Thanks, Joe and Chris, for doing this. Of course.
Thanks,
Thanks.
guys. I hope it was reasonably entertaining for you. It was
Yeah,
nice chatting.
no, it's always fun just chatting about Club Penguin. Since I was a kid, like I always wanted to meet the people and talk to the people involved.
Mm-hmm.
It's like now I'm able to do that. It's like a dream come true almost. And able
Well, I
to,
hopefully it's not too boring, and you realize, oh, we're just humans.
yeah. The thing is, it was our favorite game growing up. So it's like, I mean, you could almost talk for hours about Club
Mm-hmm.
Penguin and things you never knew and things you can learn, and it's just it's cool. It
Mm-hmm.
really is. All right, guys, we're about to pick a winner. So let's do this in three, two, one. Who is our winner? Where's our winner? It should pop up any second. Kenneth Enriquez has won the random minifigure. Where you at, Kenneth? We have our lucky winner. Are you here? Let's make sure they're here. Remember, you got to claim it. And if you are here, make sure you contact me on Discord if you haven't joined the server yet. That's also in the description. I'll post the Discord link right there in the stream chat. Um, I think that should do it. So once again, Chris, thank you for doing this. Um, as always, a lot of fun talking about this stuff, and for the community, I know all you guys enjoyed it. Um, yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Definitely, and hopefully we get to do this again, of course, in the future. Um, Probably when you're feeling a little better as well.
Yeah,
'Cause
hopefully I didn't say too much because I'm sick.
no, no, I think you did awesome. So, um, yeah. With that being said, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell for each and every upload. Robert says, "Get well soon." Um, yes, we hope he gets well soon.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. We're about to hit you guys with the outro. Thank you, Chris. Merry Christmas. Hopefully you feel better. Um, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. See you guys.
Bye, everybody.